This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. We begin down under, just outside South Auckland, New Zealand, as 32-year-old Gayleen Young was giving her daughter and two other young relatives a ride into town. Much of the footage in this story was taped as events unfolded on the evening of August 9th, 1990.
That night we were driving down the road to Manukau City to the shopping centre. And then I missed the turn-off, so I stopped.
About 10. Yeah, okay.
I was just dropping them off.
Okay, just over there. I'll see you then. Bye. Bye.
Among the girls was 12-year-old Shirley Young, Gayleen's only child. David Pedera spotted her in the parking lot as he was leaving his car.
The kid yells out, "Mum, wait," you know. I took notice of it because I know the car is not supposed to sit out there. The flame just was instant, the minute it hit it. It was the car that blew up first. All the petrol spilling out of the tank. And I thought, the tank is going to go any minute. Oh.
381, multiple calls to car versus petrol tanker.
Rescue units with the Manukau Fire Station were immediately dispatched to the scene, including Station Officer Graham Haycock.
I said to my driver, "Where exactly is that corner?" And he said to me, "Graham, look straight ahead." And sure enough, there it was. It was a fire that just kept on going and going and going.
Senior firefighter Royd Kennedy was among the first rescue workers on the scene.
At this stage, you couldn't see the truck, you couldn't see a car. All there was a huge ball of fire. It was mind-blowing, it was just awesome.
With the help of the tanker's driver, David had found Gayleen and pulled her from the burning car.
She's just screaming her head off and she was crying. I'll never ever want to live through that again. Never ever.
We could only get within approximately 30 feet of the tanker because of the intensity of the heat.
There was a river of fuel on fire running into the shopping centre. While I was looking around, I found a woman in the car park lying there, very badly burnt.
All she said was, my baby's in the car." I assumed that the baby was dead. I grabbed Royd and said, "Come on," and we started towards the back of the tanker. The heat was becoming even greater.
The swirling smoke was down to ground level, hiding everything. And for a split second, I just looked at the fire. And instantly, I saw it, just for a second, a hand in the smoke. There was someone there, right under the tanker.
When we continue,
the big question was, how were we going to get her out? Whether we would get her out or alive was anyone's guess.
in a small town near Auckland, New Zealand, a semi carrying more than 8,700 gallons of gasoline had slammed into the rear of a car, leaving both vehicles in flames. Hidden by the swirling smoke and fire, 12-year-old Shirley Young was trapped beneath the burning wreckage of the tanker truck when she was spotted by firefighter Royd Kennedy.
Royd took off. He was heading straight into the fire.
In under the truck, there's this child crushed by a big wheel. I could feel her feet protruding from under the tyre where her limbs had been broken and doubled back. She was really scared. Mind you, so was I. But I let her know that I wasn't going to leave her, no matter what.
At that point, I'd lost sight of him. I thought I'd lost him. Next minute, Royd yelled out, "Cover me, Graham," which was the biggest relief I'd ever heard. He was still alive.
All of a sudden, fire just flashed through. I thought it was all over. I really did. And water suddenly beat the flames off us.
To give some protection to where Royd was in the wreckage, we had to move guys into a position where they were exposed to danger.
Divisional Officer Ray Warby was in charge at the scene.
Shirley was lucky because she was in the only part of that wreckage where any person could survive. It was being sheltered by the chassis and the trailer unit.
Among the more than 100 rescue workers who converged on the scene was paramedic Grant Pennycook.
The big question was, how were we going to get her out?
The decision was to raise the wheel assembly with the airbags.
And the water itself was just so freezing, it's unbelievable. They had tried to bring in a sheet to give us some protection. I was continually talking to her, keeping her going.
Have you ever been horse riding? When you get out of here, we're going to go horse riding.
The firefighters were roasting, but they didn't back off. They just stood their ground. I was so astounded at the tenacity of my men.
Say that again, Ray. Keep it talking, Roy. Keep it talking. Come on, Shirley. Come on.
Time was ticking by.
She suddenly started to fade away, and she looked at me with big brown eyes, and she looked at me and said, "If I don't make it, tell my mother I love her." She just lay her head back and started to go unconscious.
Give me a resuscitator.
A resuscitator was passed in under the truck, and I started keeping her alive.
Okay, girl, keep it going. Stay with us.
Shirley had been trapped under the truck for more than 40 minutes in the intense heat and fumes.
Okay, let's have some air. Quick as you can. There she goes, Wally.
It vehicle lifted slightly, 3 or 4 inches, but not enough to pull her out because she was crushed right down onto the road.
But we were then able to get a further lift by using a hydraulic ram.
I couldn't get out of there quick enough. She was away, which was an immense relief.
It's for me, so hold over. Okay. Where's my EMV box?
But as soon as she was on that stretcher, she knew too that she was safe, finally, and she just drifted away.
Roy did what I hope any firefighter would have done. But I wouldn't ask any firefighter to do it. He heard a cry for help and he responded at extreme danger to himself.
I got home that night and I just cried. Yeah.
12-year-old Shirley Young had suffered second and third degree burns over 20% of her body. Both legs were badly broken, one so severely that it had to be amputated. She and her mother spent months in the hospital recovering from their injuries.
When Roy comes to get me, he said he was going to take me horse riding.
When did he tell you that?
When I was under the truck, I think.
And that's what you're looking forward to the most?
Yeah.
Right, now you got to lift up yourself.
5 months after the accident, Royd kept his promise.
Here, hang on to the driving part.
Will you stand there and fight for the catch me?
Royd and Shirley have grown very close, but she remembers little of the night he saved her life.
It was hot. I think I was crying. And then Royd came in and he was just trying to calm me down. He was there for me when I needed him.
Okay, that's it. You're rocking and rolling. That's good. That's good movement.
All he saw was this little girl's hand, and he didn't think twice, he just went in. Everyone else that was there were heroes, but he was a bit more. Because if Shirley had to go, I don't think he would have left her. I think he would have given his life.
No, not you, Gally. That's the down under dribble.
I try to see her regularly. Whenever I go out that way, I stop in. Her and I went through a very special time under the truck. I'd give her heaps, tell her jokes, make her laugh.
He's a sort of a nutter.
It's a great relationship. She's like a daughter.
It was a perfect shot.
When she got out of hospital, that's it. She was out and about, even when she never had her leg. It didn't get her down. There's no way I could live without her. She's my pride and joy.
Started motoring, so you pulled her up. That's good. All right. That's cool.
Next.
Paragliding could be dangerous. Maybe you are in the air and it's too strong for you, but it's too late for you.
At the base of Mont Blanc in the Alps, the French town of Chamonix is known for its spectacular winter sports and storybook charm. But in the summer months, people come from hundreds of miles around to climb the mountains and enjoy the popular European sport of paragliding. Jean-Claude Tournaire and a group of friends had traveled from nearby Switzerland to enjoy a weekend of paragliding.
We came to Chamonix because the site is marvelous for flying. It's hard to find conditions as beautiful as these anywhere else in Europe.
With Jean-Claude was his close friend, Raymond Roulin. She had only been on 20 flights before.
You're on your own in the air, so she was a little nervous. Every time you fly, you're taking a risk. There's a danger of winds that are too violent, and in that case, you shouldn't fly. The conditions were superb. There were 3 or 4 of us together in the air. We were really having fun. We were even talking while we were in the air.
Essaye d'aller vers le Mont Blanc.
After gliding for about 20 minutes, they prepared to land in a field adjacent to a new hotel that was under construction. Another paraglider, Claude Jacot, was landing just ahead of them.
It was difficult to approach because of the strong wind, about 30 kilometers per hour. That's why paragliding could be dangerous. Maybe you are in the air and it's too strong for you, but it's too late for you.
I landed and was busy detaching myself. We saw Raymond coming, and then we saw the crane. It made a big ripping noise on the crane. She stopped and was swinging. In my mind, I saw her swing off and fall.
It was really frightening. She was hanging more than 35 meters high, about 100 feet. There were steel pieces on the ground, and cement, and everything. You don't want to land on it.
We could see that it was a little material that was holding her, but from the ground, we couldn't tell if it was solid or not.
With the strong wind, the fabric could slip off. So I decided to run to my car to catch the rope and to climb the crane.
A witness to the accident radioed for help.
Allô, les pompiers de Chamonix. Transmettez.
The call was relayed to the Chamonix Safety Center. Rescue units were immediately dispatched.
Il y a quelqu'un qui arrive sur la grue pour t'assurer.
On va mettre des cartons sous le parapente, ok?
Tout le monde court déjà.
Everyone was already running over because everyone had seen the paraglide sail get hooked. Then after that, it was quickly go and get bags, get boxes, anything we could find to avoid a hard crash if she fell. It's all we could do.
I'm a mountain guide and rock climber, but it's different because the crane was moving with the wind. Vibrations could be a problem for her, so I tried to walk as soft as possible.
We saw the guide go up. We didn't know if it was good or bad. We had one person in danger, and then the minute he was on the crane, that made two people.
When I arrived at the edge of the crane, she was hanging by this of the fabric. It was a very bad surprise. She couldn't see me, so I talked to her. I said, okay, I'm here now, and we tried to give you a rope. She didn't want to move, and she was unable to speak louder. So I couldn't hear her.
Tu respires bien, c'est bientôt fini. Courage, Raymond! Je vais pouvoir t'envoyer la corde, mais je te vois pas. Essaye de me guider.
I told her that I couldn't see her because of the chute, and that I needed her answer to do the right moves. So by this time, she started to talk to me. If the time was long for me, it was much longer for her.
Tu vois la corde?
C'est bon, clé.
T'as réussi à l'attraper?
Ouais.
Maybe after 2 or 3 tries, she said, okay, I've got it.
Tout droit, toujours. Continue, continue. Continue encore. C'est bon.
Ma préoccupation première,
the first thing on my mind was to climb carefully to avoid scaring her, then having her fall.
puisse tomber, on s'est obligé d'avoir peur.
Obviously, you're going to be afraid getting on a ladder when you're so high and it's so narrow, and the rungs are so far apart.
Ça marche?
Ça marche.
Allez, c'est parti.
Le pompier était tendu, il avait
The fireman was tense. He was afraid that I would panic, and I wanted to go faster because I wanted to be on the ground.
Je voulais être à terre.
I released the chute from the crane.
Je suis encore un peu...
I was still a bit shocked, and then people were all around me. I didn't want to talk at that moment. I just wanted to realize where I was.
Claude Jacquot est le héros de l'histoire.
Claude Jacquot is the hero of the story. There aren't a lot of words to express my gratitude.
Raymond kept a piece of the sail that prevented her from falling, but she has given up paragliding.
Moi, j'ai envie de fonder une famille.
I'd like to start a family, to live a long time more, and to live well. I wasn't sure enough about my wings. I finally told myself that I've got to let that go to those who really enjoy it.
Next.
Someone yelled, "Keep her away from here." I know in my heart it's Ron. I thought he's in pieces.
Oh no, only one guy.
The bait and tackle shop that Linda and Ron Shams owned near their home in Onalaska, Wisconsin, had been a family-run business for more than 20 years. As usual, the Shams spent most of the 1991 Memorial Day weekend working at their store. By Monday night, all they wanted was some quiet time at home together.
He's got all the homework to do, too. He's about half of it done.
They had been experiencing a series of robberies at the shop, which was located just across the tracks from their house.
He's gonna have to get up about 6 in order to...
Since they had installed an alarm system a few weeks earlier, there had only been one attempt.
We felt violated with the break-ins. We'd worked so hard, had been here for so many years, and had never experienced this kind of attack, I guess you'd call it, personally, on the business.
Even though the number of patients is staying the same,
The alarm woke us both up, probably 12:15. Of course, Ron was up and going the minute the alarm was off. I said, Ron, wait, let's call the police. He goes, I'm gonna go down there.
You don't have a gun or anything?
And maybe I can catch the guy.
Please, may I help you? Yes, I'm calling about an attempted break-in, I think, that has occurred at 5,000 Boat Livery. Okay, so you don't know if there's anyone there, right? No.
So that, well, the alarm's gone off, but they'll never catch the guy. You know, that was my feeling.
Okay, what was your name?
I also did hear the sound of a train, and I did hear him blow his whistle as I was talking on the telephone to the police.
While workers on the train ran to try to help any victims, the conductor, Bill Varnum, called 911 to report the accident.
911 emergency.
The guy was just empty pit in my stomach right away. I didn't know how many people were in it or anything. I figured right away we were going to have dead people.
Tracy, we've got a car train accident at Sias's boat landing.
Units with the Onalaska Fire Department were immediately dispatched to the scene. At this time, I might have been on the deck for about a minute, and the telephone rang back. And the 911 dispatch center is calling me to find out, did I know anything about the emergency call that was placed at the same time mine was, the call that reported a vehicle-train collision at the same location. Oh, my God. I know in my heart it's Ron. He was the only vehicle that would have been at that location at that time.
Down here!
Ron was found pinned underneath the flatbed of the pickup truck.
Any other people with you?
Onalaska police officer David Hawk was responding to the reported burglary at the bait shop when he came upon the wreckage of the pickup.
It was even hard to identify what it was because it was just a piece of metal with wheels attached.
You by yourself?
I was looking for not much of a person left.
Someone from near the truck yelled, "Keep her away from here." I became some other person because I couldn't deal with it, possibly because my whole life seemed to have just stopped.
Within 2 minutes, rescue units arrived, including first responder paramedic Bruce Solberg.
I heard someone underneath the truck screaming, "Get me out of here," in a panic. And he told me his name was Ron Shams, at which point I identified myself as Bruce because I've known Ron for 20 years.
Okay, I'm going under. Get out of here. Ron.
What I surmised was that he must have been squeezed through that little opening in the back window, because that would be the only way he would end up where he was.
Just relax, buddy. We're going to get you out of here. We got the ambulance coming, okay?
Paramedic Dave Blocker also went under the truck to help Ron.
Buddy, I need oxygen also.
On further palpation of the right side of the chest, you could feel that the ribs weren't where they're supposed to be. That indicates we've got a critical situation because his lungs are going to collapse.
We knew we had to get the pickup up off of him so that we could slide him underneath. Someone said it's going to be about another 20 minutes, but we needed to get him out of there now.
I just stood still on the road, and I couldn't cry. I couldn't express any emotions at all. I was just in a state of shock.
Just nice and easy, Ron. Nice and easy, buddy. I got it.
He hit hard. When we log rolled him onto his right side, the impact that he made created a 2 to 3 inch indentation into the ground. It was another indicator of the seriousness of his situation.
Dave and I put him on a longboard and figured that we didn't have a whole lot of time left before we lost both lungs totally. His right lung has now collapsed. I have nothing. At that point, I turned to Dave Blocker and said, "We've got to go now."
So I positioned myself underneath the bed of the truck and up against the tailgate, straightened out my legs, lifted up the truck enough so that he could go out underneath the bed and through the opening that we crawled through.
We gave Ron about a 5% chance of survival due to the fact that both his lungs had collapsed and that he had gone through the trauma he had gone through. We anticipated reading his obituary within the next couple days.
I didn't see how my world as I know it now could go on without Ron. I see our life as so much together that without him, I would have to, I don't know, move, change everything because it just would seem so empty.
Ron Shams suffered 18 broken ribs, 2 punctured lungs, cracked vertebrae, and a shattered shoulder blade. 5 months later, the painful memories of that night still linger on.
I think anger blinds people. I had one thing on my mind, and that was getting the bad guy. I thought I could beat the train, and I didn't rationalize what could have happened. I didn't think it through.
Ron certainly has paid for his attempt against that train. He's got a shoulder that will forever be stiff. I don't know to this day how Ron was able to survive the train accident.
I was grateful to everybody involved. And I told my wife, when I come out of this, we're going to have a party. I think to a certain extent I look at everything with different eyes. You know, it could have been over so quick. And I've been given a second chance, as it were, to take a second look at yourself, take a second look at everything around you.
Yeah, oh, let's go get warmed up.
Snowfall can be heavy and temperatures often plunge below zero. Canada is a nation that enjoys and celebrates its winter season. On February 1st, 1990, the small resort town of Huntsville, Ontario, hosted the annual Winter Wonderfest, as it has for more than 20 years. Among those enjoying the snowmobile races on the frozen waters of Lake Vernon that afternoon were Barbara Hearn and her family.
There was a lot of snowmobiles out on the ice. There was people everywhere. There was no reason to think that the ice wasn't safe.
Barbara and her daughter decided to go home early, leaving her husband Brian and their 6-year-old son Stephen to watch a few more races.
I know, bud, I'm ready to go. You want to go? Yeah. For a ride?
When it came time to drive the 2 miles home, Brian decided to take a shortcut across the frozen lake. Although Brian normally did not drive across the lake, he felt safe knowing there were other snowmobilers around. Lanny Payne was just a few hundred feet away at the time of the accident.
Couldn't believe my eyes when I saw them go through. I couldn't get too close, and I knew I didn't have a rope or anything. I don't think they could have survived too long. It was cold, darn cold. Well, they must have been really afraid. And there was nothing there for him to grab. The ice around him was just breaking away. He had nothing to hold on to. So there was really nothing he could do but try his hardest to hold his son up.
Come on, right here, reach, guys! Reach!
Ross Sully happened to be on the ice that day, demonstrating his hovercraft when he spotted the victims.
Ice water is numbing experience. If you're too cold, you can't feel anything. And the thought was in my mind that these people are going to die if we don't execute the rescue very quickly. There's very little time. And once they go below the surface, there's nothing that we're going to be able to do.
Come on, you're almost there!
I saw that the father was struggling with every bit of breath that he had left in him to hold his son above the water. And with the hypothermia, it didn't leave very much time. He was going to go down. They couldn't make very much headway because of these snowmobile suits that had soaked up so much water.
Finally, I was able to reach out and grab the small boy.
We then managed to get to the father, but there was little to grab onto. We could see his fingers digging into the rubber on the side of the craft to try and hang on. I was absolutely amazed that he was able to hang on to the young man, the young boy, as long as he did and stay with it.
All that you're thinking at the time is, I don't really care what happens to me, just keep him alive, keep him alive.
Without the hovercraft, which is able to float across any surface on a cushion of air, rescuers might never have been able to reach Brian and his son in time. Brian and Stephen have not gone snowmobiling since the accident.
We don't like talking about it, because it's one of those things that you just want to forget about. And the best thing that came out, that we were all right.
I'm just so grateful to everybody that we can be here to enjoy the smaller things in life. Ross and Lanny were the two people on the scene that did what they had to do, risked their own lives, and what they did was very special, and thank you. Just it isn't enough. I mean, what can you do for somebody that saved your life?
I could have lost them. And I think then you realize how much that you do love them and need them and care for them. And it frightens me to think about life without both of them. And I think it makes you more cautious as well with everything.